Okay, students, good morning to all of you. So today's session we are going to be discuss the Capstone Project Prep 1 Part 1. In this session, first thing we are going to be understand the case study. So every captions we have few case studies. So before writing any questions, try to understand the case study each and everything in a clearly so you can get idea how to write the answers upon the questions. So first understand with the case study. Mr. Anand, he is a prosperous NRI and he had the idea to develop a website devoted to fashion with a focus on high-end apparels and accessories. So he is a prosperous NRI and he has a one idea to develop a website. So it is website is like a e-commerce shopping application for the selling the apparels and the accessories. He has collaborated on the application with Mr. Bhaskar, Miss Pandana, and Mr. David. So he is a collaborated with these three members to develop this application. The website should be easy to navigate, have a contemporary look, and process payments quickly. So here the main motto of this website is to be easy to be navigate and have a good contemporary look and the process payment quickly. So payment gateways it happens quickly once they buy any product of the users. So these are the main aspects. Upon looking at the papers, Mr. Anand has understood that Miss Pandana already had a similar application and as the sales are drastically declining. So, by looking into this, Anand has understand Mr. Spandana already had a same kind of similar application which already developed and that application where this is the sales are drastically declining of their businesses. So Mr. Anand has taken on the duty of improving the application. So Mr. Anand is taken initiative to improve this application, which already developed application, who is using by the Mr. Spandana. The timeline of the project is 18 months with 1 year as a budget. So to develop this project, the duration is the 18 months and budget is allocated 1 crore. So what are the current problems is faced by the Mr. Spandana in their existing application? Lack of knowledge of fashions of the customers, lack of customer reach. So these are the majorly problems which they are facing in their existing application. So looking at the current problem, Mr. Anand has a team already on board. So by addressing these current problems, so Mr. Anand he onboarded one team to develop and enhance their existing application. So here, who are the team members of the Mr. Anand's company? Mr. Prasad, who is the project head, Mr. Walter White, who is a community member, Miss Ruby, committee member, and Miss Serena, he is a committee member. So these are the members who is involved in your Anand's company. And Mr. Anand outsourced this project to a company named Adino Offshore Team. So Mr. Anand outsourced this project to a company. So who are the peoples who are the team members working upon these projects? So Mr. John, who is our delivery head, Mr. Anna is a project manager, Mr. Chase, who is a senior Java developer, Mr. Nora, Miss Shushank, Miss Vivan. So these are the three members, four members who are the developers who is working upon to develop this application. And Mr. Mike, who is a network admin, who is looking onto the entire network. Mr. John, who is a database admin. Mr. John and Miss Neff is the testers, and you are the business analyst. So these are the your team members who is developing and working upon this project. So as a you business analyst, you has to understand what is the application, why we are developing this application, what is the main purpose, who are the stakeholders, who is involved in the project, and what are their roles and responsibilities. So each and every aspects as a BA, you has to be understand each and every point. And coming to the, you have to be understand what is their current problems. Okay, what kind of problem they are facing in the current and what they are trying to achieve in the next in a desired state. So these all are the aspects you has to be understand before developing any application. As a BA, it's your roles and responsibilities. So after understanding the case study, we will decode this case study. What are the project ideas to develop a website devoted to fashion with a focus on high-end apparel and accessories? So major idea of this project to develop and initiate, it has to be develop one website, which is a e-commerce website for the fashion stores to sell the apparels and accessories. And what are the current needs? Majorly current needs, which are their current problems. They are focusing on the easy to navigate, have a contemporary look of the application, and process payments quickly. So they are the majorly focus on these current needs, which they are trying to develop. And what is the overview of the project? It is an e-commerce based project. There is an existing application present, but the current project would like to take the inputs from the current one and work on the new one. So here already the application is developed, which is the existing application. So by looking into the existing application, there has to be developed there some kind of a new functionalities and new features. And what are the current problems? Declines of sales, non-user friendly, unable to handle the computations. So these are the current problems which they are solving with enhancing the application. So this is the understanding of the case study. So while you are entering into the capstone projects, first thing, there are different case studies. You have to be understand the case study and you have to be write the explanation to each and every question. So what is the main use of the process, which is a business process model? So in the business process model, we will show the entire the goal of the business. Okay. So here, first thing, while you are writing any answers, you have to be write in a elaborative way according to your case study. So first thing, you have to write what is mean by the business process model and what are the parameters is involved in the business process model. So these are the few parameters we will check in the business process model: goal, inputs, resources, outputs, activities, and the values. So coming to the goal, what is the main goal of this project and what are the inputs? What kind of resources we are using? Means what are the resources is we required for developing this project and what is the outputs? What are the activities you are doing while you are developing the project and what value is added to your project. So these things, all these parameters, you have to write in an elaborative way by addressing your case study. And coming to the next question is from SWOT analysis on the project. So first thing, you have to be explain about the what is mean by the SWOT analysis, why we do the SWOT analysis upon the projects. So SWOT is a defined as a strength, weakness, opportunities, and the threats. So before you are initiating any project, you are doing the SWOT analysis to understand what is your strength in your organization, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities in the market related to your projects, and the threats. What kind of threats you will face, like internal threats or external threats. These things you have to write in a elaborative way. This students here the some examples is given. Coming to the strength, strong brand recognition and reputation in the online fashion. So these are the strengths in their organization and the weaknesses, dependencies or external vendors, supply chain disruptions, inventory management issues. So these are the weaknesses which you have to be focus on these weaknesses and opportunities. What kind of opportunities you will find in the market and threats. What are the threats? So coming to the threats, it's like a political threats, external threats, your competitors. So these all are the threats. So you has to be analyzed. And coming to the next question, yeah, check the feasibility. So Shreya, first thing you have to be give your explanation about the what is mean by the feasibility and why we do the feasibility for any projects. So before developing any project in the initial stage, you have to be check the what is the feasibility of the project. It is possible we can develop or not. Those things you have to be checked while you are doing the feasibility. So these are the some of the parameters which you have to be checked before developing the any project. You have to check the feasibility. We have the proper technology. We have to see the proper hardware. We have the proper softwares, resources, budgets, and the time frame. If any one is not there, so we can't able to develop the project. Like if you not have the proper resources. Coming to the resources, if you not have the proper strong development team, so it's not possible to go ahead with this project in the initial stage. So you have to check all these parameters before developing the project. So according to your case study, you have to address it. What kind of technologies we have needed? What are the hardware we required? What are the softwares is necessary to develop this project? So you have to be analyze and you have to write your explanation in a elaborative way upon your case study. And coming to the fourth, which is a gap analysis. So coming to the gap analysis, every project initially you are going to be do the gap analysis. What is the gap of your project? So according to our case study, what we understand, what is the current problem and what they are trying to achieve in their desired state. Okay. So first thing you have to understand the case study, what kind of current problems they are facing and what is the desired state, what they are trying to be achieved. So coming to the current state, if we understand with the case study, they're looking like they not have the existing in their existing platform, they might not have a contemporary and user-friendly designs or efficient payment systems. So they have addressed this kind of challenges in their current state and they are developing enhancing this platform with the contemporary and user-friendly designs and payment efficiency. So in this way, you have to do your gap analysis upon your case study. Okay, what are the applications is given to you. And coming to the next question, prepare risk analysis. So first thing you have to be might know to understand why we do the risk analysis, what is mean by the risk analysis, and what kind of risk we will face while you are working upon the projects. So you have to be must understand all those aspects and the parameters. What are your internal risks? So coming to the internal risk, what kind of risk it might be chances in our organizations, and what are the external risks? What can be external risk we will face? Let's we understand is here one statement: intense competition from other online fashions and lifestyle platform in India. So coming to the external risk, who will be the external risk? Who will affect your projects, like your competitors? So those all are the external risks. So you have to address those external risks and you have to answer it. And coming to the BA risk and as well as the project risk. So what is mean by the BA risk? BA risk is one kind of a risk. BA not have the proper domain knowledge or incomplete requirement. BA gathers incomplete requirement from that application to develop their software. So these are the some loopholes and the BA risks. And coming to the project risk, if project is goes under the scope creep is called as a delays. If his project is getting under the delay, so this project we will consider as a scope creep and the technology risk. So there are so many risks in the BA risk and the project risk. So you have to address those, what are the BA risk and what kind of a project risk will be faced. So you have to be address those both the risks, add on more points and your explanation in a elaborative way. It's a just understanding of the basic things and the guidelines. But while you are writing your answers in the capstone project, those should be in an elaborative way and according to your case study. And don't write as it is, whatever I have explained you in the PPT, in the capstone project's documentation. It be won't be considered evolutors in the evolution. And coming to the next question, prepare a ratio matrix and the stakeholder analysis. So first thing you have to understand what is mean by the stakeholder analysis and who are the stakeholders and why we use these techniques, which is a ratio matrix techniques RACI stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consultant, and Informed. So here, students, in the case study, if you look into it, Mr. Anant, he has onboarded one team. Okay. So what is the roles and responsibilities of your team members? We are going to be address it by using this technique, which is a RACI matrix technique. So you have to be understand who is the persons who are the responsible for your project, who is accountable, and who are the consultant, and who is the informed. So you have to understand their roles and responsibilities of your stakeholders who is working in your project. So to identify your stakeholders in your project and their roles and responsibilities, we are using this RACI matrix techniques. So you have to be understand. And coming to the next question, which is a business case documentation. So coming to the business case documentation, we are preparing the business case documentation to get the overview idea of our project. So these are the few questions. You have to understand these questions and you have to write your explanation in elaborative way for your project, for your capstone projects, which is given by the case study. Why this project is initiated, what are the current problems you are facing, and with this project, how many problems could be solved, what are the resources is required, how much organizational change is required to adopt this technology, what is time frame to recover ROI, which is a return on investment, how to identify your stakeholders. So these are the few questions you have to write whenever you are preparing the business case documentation and give your explanation in your project perspective. Coming to the next question, write about HDLC methodology. So every organization, whenever they are developing any projects, they has to be follow the HDLC life cycle, which is a software development life cycle. So you have to understand what is mean by the HDLC and what is mean by the methodologies. So coming to the methodologies, methodology has its own set of rules and guidelines. So these are the methodologies. This is the meaning of the methodology. In the methodology, we have the four methodologies, which is the sequential, iterative, evolutionary, and the agile. So you have to understand what are these four methodologies, what is mean by these methodologies, like sequential, iterative, evolutionary, and as well as agile. So you have to understand these methodologies and give your explanation in a elaborative way what is mean by these methodologies. So to understand you what is mean by the meaning of the methodology, with one simple example, I try to explain you. Suppose you have multiple students are related to the from the banking industries. So coming to the banking, you can assume we have the RBI, which is a body. RBI is a Reserve Bank of India. Every bank should have to be follow the some rules and regulations, guidelines of our RBI. Each and every banks. Yes. So coming to the methodology, methodology is assumed as a RBI, which has its own set of rules and guidelines. So these are the methodologies: sequential, iterative, evolutionary, and agile. All these four methodologies has their own set of rules and the guidelines. And coming to the models, so we have the four models, which is the V model, waterfall model, RUP, spiral, and the Scrum. So these are the models which you have to understand. To achieve the any functionalities, we are using the models. Here, let's say assume RBI is a methodology, and under RBI we have the banks. So all those banks is considered as the models. So what does it mean by the models? To achieve the any functionality, to develop the any software, we are using these models. So you have to understand these models and write your explanation in an elaborative way. Coming to the next question, difference between the waterfall and the wave model. So first thing you need to be understand what is mean by the waterfall model and what is mean by the wave model and how it's a different both. You have to write 5 to 10 differentiation points for the both waterfall model and as well as the wave model. So here are the in the slide few are the differentiation is mentioned. You have to go through it. But apart from this, don't mention as it is a differentiation. You have to understand in your own way and write down differentiation for the waterfall and wave model. First thing you have to understand the difference between the what is mean by the waterfall model and what is the wave model. Why we use the waterfall model and why we use the wave model. First you have to understand in a explanation what exactly these both the models does. And after then you try to understand the differentiation between the both. So in this way you have to write explanation for the difference between waterfall and the wave model. Coming to the next question, according to you, which model and methodology will suit to this project? Justify your choice. So here you have to choose any one of the model, any one of the methodology which is suitable to your capstone project. Which model is good to be work on this project. So you have to address it and you have to give your explanation according to your model why this model you have chosen to develop this project. You have to write your own explanation. And coming to the next question, which is a prepare a Gantt chart for this project. So you have to understand what do you mean by the Gantt chart? Why we are preparing the Gantt chart for every project? In the initial of the project, we are preparing the Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is one kind of a timelines in which duration we are going to be complete the project. Suppose here you can assume in the Gantt chart you are able to see the resources and the weeks. So coming to the resources, like who is your means who are the peoples are involved, which is the teams is involved in developing the projects in a project. And coming to the weeks, so in the case study we have understand our duration of the completion of the project is the 18 months. So in this 18 months only you have to be complete your entire project. So you are dividing those projects in the week, in which week we are going to be complete the what kind of project deadlines. Okay. So this Gantt chart is prepared by the BA and as well as the project manager. So you have to understand why we are preparing the Gantt chart, what is mean by the Gantt chart, and in this way you have to prepare your Gantt chart. And coming to the question number 13, write about fixed bid versus billing project. So coming to the fixed bid, what is mean by the fixed bid? Fixed bid is one project. Okay, I will give you one simple example. In the case study, there will be the time frame and budget is a fixed in a duration 18 months and in a 1 crore budget you has to be complete this project. When we are giving the timelines and the deadlines and the budget is at fixed, those kind of projects we called as a fixed bid project. And coming to the billing project, which project is not has a fixed timeline and the fixed budget. So those project we will consider as a billing project. Suppose in our organizations, which are some big projects, the budget is released on the weekend basis or on the daily basis or the monthly basis. The budget is releasing, suppose we are doing any government project. So on the government project, the budget is releasing on the in installment wise. Yes. So those kind of projects we are calling as a billing project in our organizations in the industry. So this is the some differences between the fixed bid and the billing projects. Next question, which is a prepare timesheets for requirement gathering, requirement analysis, design, development, testing, UAT, and deployment phases. Okay, so here you have to prepare your timesheets. So You all of you aware about the what is mean by the timesheets, because every organizations we are filling our timesheets on the daily basis. Before leaving from organizations, we has to fill our timesheets, what daily task, what activities you have done in your organizations on the daily basis. From your working hours, if you assume your working hour is 9 hours, so in the 9 hours, what activities you have done in your organization, you have to fill your daily timesheets. So as a BA also, you has to fill your timesheet in a phase wise, in a every phase. So this is prep one. Entire project is related to the waterfall model. So coming to the waterfall model, in waterfall model, we have the few phases: requirement gathering, requirement analysis, design. So these all are the phases. We have the 7 phases in the waterfall model. So whenever you are working on any project and that project in the waterfall model, you have to be, suppose as a BA, in the initially upon that project you are working on requirement gathering phase. So in the requirement gathering phase in your day to day in your organizations, how much time you are allocating in which work. Those things you have to analyze and you have to mention your timesheets. You have to maintain your timesheets in a phase wise. So this is all related to the timesheets. As a BA, you have to be follow. Okay, students. So these are the 14 questions which you available in the prep one part one. So this session is for some basics guidelines how the student is going to be approach and prepare their documentations based upon the case study. So first thing you have to understand the case study properly. You have to understand the questions. You have to deliver your content related to the question according to your case study.